Happy Thursday. What a freaking month it is. Oh my gosh. I'm excited. You can't tell about how crazy amazing this month is. Okay, let me get your comments and we're going to be ready to go. So you have found yourself at Online Steps to Success. I am so glad you're here. My name is Allison Dahlke. I have been a Superstar Director with Cincy for the past, I think I've been a Superstar Director for 10 and a half years. Been a consultant for 11 and a half years, something like that. So I'm a little nervous about how slow it appears that I'm moving on the interwebs. Don't like that. Okay, let's see if we can fix it. Nope, want to hear myself. That's weird. Just want to see your comments. Okay, great. Hi, friends. So glad you're here. So here's the deal. Go live every Thursday night because I am crazy passionate about this business and I believe that it changes lives. But I also believe that a lot of people do it really wrong and that you do not have to work harder. I believe that you can dream big, work smart, change your world and the world around you. And it takes intention and it takes work, but it's all worth it. But we have to be a little bit smarter about the way that we work. So that is what we're doing tonight. We're going to talk about working smarter. Holy freaking cow. Can I just say that? This month is bonkers, bizarre, amazing. I'm sorry, what? You can join this company for $15 US, $20 Canadian. I don't know all the other country numbers, but there's something about that, close to that, for what a few cups of coffee cost. What? You have got to be kidding me. So my mind is blown. We added over 1,000 consultants to our group in 7 days. I haven't even checked the last two. Because partly I'm like, is it going to slow down? But then partly I'm like, I just want to look at another week. I mean, what? That's crazy. That is crazy. But also, it is such an incredible opportunity. So I want to talk about two things really quickly before we talk about getting new consultants started. So I think one of the problems is that we say, some of you are blowing this thing out of the water. I want to know how many of you already have your first recruit. Or how many of you have asked somebody maybe you've asked somebody for the first time, like you've never once stepped out of your comfort zone to ask somebody to join and you're doing it. Ashley says I have three new teamies for me and 6 for our team. That is incredible. There was a year I had 5 recruits all year, just me personally, which is, I'm not bragging about that. It was a bad year. It's not a good year for me. But like what, you have 3 right now? Like this is bonkers. Like it's crazy and it's amazing, right? Shelly says, I signed one today and asked another. Yes. And you guys, here's the other thing that I really need you to understand. When you are asking, even if somebody says no, you are planting a seed that is a possibility for somebody. So oftentimes you don't even, Jessica just said my team doubled in size in 9 days. What? That's amazing. Like that's the kind of stuff you pray about there, right? I know my service is sketch. It's not storming. It's just my service is being sketch. Y'all just tell me if you can't hear me anymore. I'm not a fan of what's happening with my internet, but we're going to leave it be until it needs to be worked on again. I tried to turn the Wi-Fi off of everything else, but we'll see. Anyways, okay, if you're just joining us, I want to know if you have a new team member personally, or if you've asked somebody, I want to know whatever, I want to hear all the things. If you ask somebody and said no, that is a win. That is a huge win. That's a win. If you've just made your list and you're thinking about it, that's also a win, but we have to take action. We can't just wish things into existence. We actually have to ask. And this is the time. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? You don't have anything to lose. Liz says she has 1. Desiree says 9 for our team and 3 for me. That's amazing. Megan says, I joined on May 1st. Welcome, Megan, and have 2 awesome recruits already. Girl, that is the way to start this thing so strong. I'm so glad that you are. So here, that's something to think about, right? Not only is this such an amazing opportunity for you, but this is an incredible opportunity for your new team members, you have somebody sign up tomorrow, great. Their first goal should be, who else can I ask to join? $15? What? That's crazy. That's bonkers. That's amazing. Like, let's do this thing. Amanda said my team has gone from 24 at the end of March when I was at boot camp to now they're at 43. Holy moly. Kaylee has 4 new and 4 who are joining. Dadgummit. Kaylee. Kaylee and I might have a competition going. And she smokes me every time. Every freaking time she smokes me. Golly. It's okay. Whatever. I'm coming after you, girl. My point is, if you can't tell, I'm super fired up. But what I want to tell you, what I really want to talk about tonight, and this is so vital, is that it is imperative that we get our crap together, okay? So here's the thing. One, I don't want you to be scared to bring somebody on because you feel like, well, I just started, I don't know what to do. We're not going to believe that lie. You just started, you have all the excitement, you get to learn together with your friends, okay? That is the goal. But on top of that, as you're starting to build your team, you messaged 52 people. Basically my hero. Anyways, like that's legit. Go ahead, walk your walk, Kaylee, walk your walk. She's not only talking, she's walking. I love it. Anyways, we have got to put some things into place where we are not afraid to build this and do this thing. Oftentimes the thing that keeps us from building is that we feel like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, or I don't have time. Like, I'm trying to do my business, but we all know that we have to build a team if you really want to make money doing this. And then you start believing the lie that I don't have time to train these people, but there is a way, and we're going to do it this month. We're going to put some things into place this month that are going to help you feel like right now and moving forward, I have the confidence to say, join me. I can't wait to help you make this succeed. Okay. So, all right. Y'all are bomb. First of all, can you just keep talking about how awesome you are? Because I just want to come back and read all these and love them and give you confetti emojis, which if you didn't know, that's my favorite emoji, the confetti one. And mine makes fun of me all the time. She's like, got to put some confetti emojis in there if you really want it. Let's talk about how we do this well. How do you bring people in and, for one, make them feel like they are equipped and also that they're educated? So there's a couple things. One is that Cincy now has this incredible email drip campaign that's going out to your new team members over their first 70 days. And if you haven't seen it yet, it is in the workstation, and you can search for it and find it. So Heidi and Orville are on there talking about the welcome, or not the welcome. They're talking about the Cincy story. They're talking about order entry, not them specifically, but there's an email about order entry. There's an email about shooting star and sensational star. There's all sorts of information that's slowly being dripped to your new consultants via email. Okay, fantastic. But on top of that, what can you do to take away the overwhelm? So let's pretend that you have 5 brand new team members this month and they are yours. You signed them up, that you have 5 of them. If I were to really think about that and I were to think, I want to do that well, if I did not have something in place right now, I would feel a little bit overwhelmed, if I'm being honest. And this is my full-time job. I would be like, okay, crap. But that's how we want to put systems in place to help us do that. So you're like, I don't even know how to do that. Where do I start? We're going to start right now. So I need you to get out a piece of paper. I need you to do some work tonight. Look, you can watch all you want, but when you watch and you do not do, you are not progressing. And when we're not progressing and we're not moving forward, we're not creating change in our lives. And that's what we need. So in terms of everything that we do for our team and our business, we want to be creating forward movement and forward change. Also, you want that in your own life, right? Like, you should be forward moving. You should be growing and changing. And we're going to work on that tonight. We're working on it right now. Okay. So let's do this. Here's what, I just lost my train of thought. I was going to grab something that I wanted to look at, and I forgot. Dadgummit, y'all, I'm too old. I'm too old. Megan, I don't think it's your internet. I kind of think it's my internet, and I'm really sorry about that. So if you have to watch this replay, this is going to be back again, tomorrow you can watch it, of course, or when it's over, you can always watch the replay. So we're going to put some systems in place right now. We're going to do some work right now to help you get started and feel like, okay, starting tomorrow, I have a plan. Now, here's what I need you to hear and understand. This is different for every single one of you. I don't care what your title is. You could have been like and just signed up on May 1st and already have 2 recruits. I want you to start thinking about these things now. You are a business owner. If you are building a team, you are a leader. And I want you to start thinking about what systems can I put in place? How can I automate things when I have 1 recruit or 5 recruits or 10 recruits or 30 recruits in a month that I can say, come on, come join the family. We're going to do this and we're going to do it well. So we have to have something in place to do that. Now, those of you who are freaking out when I'm saying system, I need you to stop freaking out about it. A system is simply a structure that we put in place that allows us to do more with less effort. Okay, that's all that it is. And that's what we're going to work on tonight. So I want you to think about right now. Some of you have already told me you have 3 and 5 and 8 people who have signed up because you're bomb. I mean, what? It's amazing. I want you to think about right now, what are the questions that are coming to you all the time? And I want you to start writing these things down. So I want you to watch the comments. I want you to write down what other people are saying. I want you to write down the things that you hear all the time. If you're brand new, I want you to write down the questions you have. I want you to write them down. I also want you to put some of them in the comments for me, because this is going to become, as this feed's going to be here tomorrow, next week, whatever, you can come back and look and say, okay, these are the commonly asked questions from new consultants. So I want you to start typing in the comments what are the things you hear repeated over and over and over again from new consultants. Go ahead. I'm going to let you start typing. I'm going to have to go get a drink of water. I'm like really talking a lot. Questions. You're brand new. What questions do you have? You're brand new. What are the things you're thinking about? You're brand new. How do we get paid? Lisa says, how do we get paid? Excellent question. It's a fantastic question. Okay, good question. Are there any hidden fees with the $15 kit? Good question. The answer is no. Which I think you knew and you were just asking. You hear people say, I'm not sure I can sell enough. That's a really great thing. We're going to talk about that right now. I just don't know where to start. That's a good one. I love it. I don't know anyone. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. I'm going to miss some of these. Can I really make money from this business? How do I start a party? How much do I have to sell? What makes Cincy better? How do I put an order in? How much do I have to sell? How do I get customers? Good. Okay. I want you to keep asking questions, and I want you to keep, as you're thinking of them, like as you see other people comment, how do we get people to have parties? Yes. So as you see people comment, it might get you like thinking of, oh, here's a comment. Here's a question I hear a lot. Do I have to have a launch party? Okay, good. All fantastic questions. Okay, so what I want you to do I'm a leader, because you are a leader. If you're going to build this business and you're building a team, you are a leader. I don't care what your title is. This is not about you being a director. This is about how do I put a system in place to really manage people well. Okay. What are the requirements to sell? Is it really $15? Are they going to add a huge fee later? No, the answer is it really is $15. There are no hidden fees. That's so good. Can you bundle and save with the clean? Good. There are so many good consultants around my neighborhood. How do I book a party? Good. Keep posting your questions. I'm not going to look back at many of them. But I want you to keep asking, how do I use my host rewards? What kind of discount do you get? That's a good one. How do I stay active? I'm not a salesperson. Good. So I love that too, Casey. Casey brought up, that's just a comment. We hear a lot of things like, I don't know where to start, or I don't know enough people. I'm not a salesperson. So not only questions that you're going to hear from your new teamies, but also what are the objections that they're going to come? Because here's something that you really have got to understand as a leader. Okay, you are a leader asking other people to do this with you, and it is vital that you understand that when they join and they do the thing, and now they're in it, do you know what the first thing that happens is? They get scared. They get scared, and it happens to everyone. And it may not be immediate for some of your people. You're going to see some people fired up, coming at you, running out the gates, doing the thing. But there will be a point when they get scared. And as their leader, what I need you to understand right now is that you have to anticipate that fear. You're not going to bring it up and you're not going to bring it out in them. But when it comes, when they come to you with all of the objections, with all of the excuses, with all of the reasons they can't do this anymore, or that they're scared, or that they're not moving, it's fear. It is fear. Y'all, this business changes lives. It sounds so cliche and dumb, whatever, I know, but it literally changes people's lives. And so when you step into something like that and you start to take action and you start to do the things and you start to climb, resistance comes at them. So as a sponsor, I need you to understand that fear will come. Okay? And one of the things that we can do is we can put some systems in place to help overcome their fear, to help equip them to do the things. So you guys are posting your questions. Commonly asked questions by new consultants. Come back and reference this later. You're posting objections you hear from new consultants. So we often think about the objections that we hear from people before they join, but there are a lot of objections that come up once somebody joins, especially when we're talking about a $15 kit, right? There's not a ton of investment. If they don't do anything, they're not losing anything because they got more than that in product, right? So it's not like this, oh, I've invested, so I really want to do the work. It may not feel like that. It may feel like that for some people, but most of the time, it's going to be really easy for them to be like, it was just $15. Right? So we want to be careful that we're not letting fear overcome them. So keep posting your questions from commonly asked questions from new recruits and the common objections from new team members. Okay. I want you to keep posting those. We're going to compile a whole list that we'll make as a reference to you. Molly, I'm sorry. I just came up with that idea right now. Molly's my assistant. It means she's going to compile a list. But I think it'll be super helpful because we do hear some of the things, we hear some of the same things a lot. So what I want you to do as you're making your list, we'll have a complete list. I'm not going to promise it soon, maybe next week. But you're going to have your list up. The biggest thing that we want to capitalize on when somebody joins is their excitement and their fear. So there's a mix of both, right? When we do something big, when we take a step, there's this mix of excitement and fear, and we want to capitalize on that. And how do we capitalize that? We capitalize on that by action. One of the problems people make, or one of the mistakes people make sometimes is an overabundance of information. So I would really highly suggest that you, and I'm going to talk about how you plan the system out in just a minute, but okay. But I would highly suggest that you highly encourage your new team members to not join every Facebook group in the world. When there is over information, we often see people fall into inactivity. You can be over informed and never take action. And so we want to prevent that. So as their sponsor, your job is to grab a hold of that mix of fear and excitement and push them into action. We're not overthinking right now. We are not overdoing it. Honestly, in the very first few days, you don't really need to know their why. I mean, it's not an awful thing if you do. Maybe when they joined, they told you all the things. I want to take my kids to the beach, or I want whatever. That's great. That's not going to hurt anything, but it doesn't need to be priority number one. Priority number one needs to be action. So how we push them to action depends on every different person. So you're thinking, okay, great. Well, you're telling me I need a system to train people or to get people onboarded and going, but that they're all going to be different. Yeah, they are all going to be different because they're all different people. And we have got to be careful that we are not saying this is what it looks like for every single person. And this is how you need to run your business. And this is what you need to do. Because when we start to bark orders and we start to put forth challenges that are not in someone's giftings, they will fall out faster than we can catch them. So instead, what we do is we equip with options. So you set the expectation. You're the leader, remember? So you get to set the expectation. So you set the expectation. My expectation is you're selling $1,000 in your first 30 days. It's the expectation I set. I set the bar high. This is what we do. This is who we are. And here's why. When you do that, you make $250 instead of $200 because you're going from 20% commission to 25 immediately. You're getting a promotion and you have made back money and have found success very, very fast. That's the expectation I set. Now, I do not tell them that they have to do one certain thing to do that. But what do? I offer them options. Here are some ways that you can do that, right? So what I want you to think about is I want you right now, as you're looking at these questions, as you're looking at the objections from new consultants, I want you to think about, and look, I don't want you to think about how right now. I want you to think about what. So we're thinking about the process. Hey, baby, can you grab me a drink?
Oh.
With?
You're saying, I'm not saying I love you.
He wrote me.
Love you.
I love you too. Just want to say I'm crazy about him. Okay. 15 years. P.S. We are going to celebrate our 15-year anniversary at Cincy Family Reunion in Austin. Our anniversary is on July 31st, and we'll be 15 years, and we'll be with our Cincy family, which is super fun. It's like the coolest. Did you realize
gonna be awesome.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah, we did. Okay. Anyways, so there you have it. For those of you who haven't met Brian, I know some of you haven't because some of you just joined May 1st. There's a girl on here, Megan, who joined May 1st, and she already has 2 recruits.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, she's bomb.com. I know,
That's
right?
awesome. Good job, Megan.
Okay.
Megan, what you say?
Yeah, I think it was Megan. Megan, if I'm saying the wrong thing. I really think it's Megan.
You
Anyways.
look so cute. Look, your glasses and your hair. Look at you.
Thanks, babe.
You're so cute.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
3 out of 4 down. Got one more to go.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to what we're talking about. We're talking about putting a system in place to onboard new team members where you do not feel like you're working harder, but we're working smarter. And we're saying we're feeling empowered to say, I can do this and I can lead people and I can really, really help them make this work. So what's that look like? I don't want you to think about the how yet. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I want you to think about the what. So we're looking at all these questions that we have from new, like commonly asked questions from new consultants, common objections. The very first thing I want you to do is I want you to decide what your expectation is. You decide what is the number one thing. And it might be, so I said it's really important that like when I have a new recruit, I want them selling $1,000 in their first 30 days, or 1,000 PRV in their first 30 days. I also am highly pushing them to earn shooting star, right? So that's 500 in the first 15, which if I want them to sell 1,030, that's pacing, right? So I want to help them pace. So you set the expectation. So right now on your piece of paper, I want you to write down what is your I want you to write down what the expectation is for you. What are you going to expect out of people? And here's what don't go small. Okay. Now listen, just because that's what the expectation is, not everyone's going to do that. And that's okay. But it doesn't mean that we lower our standards because somebody is scared. Your job as a leader and as an encourager and as an equipper is to pull out greatness in people. So yeah, we're taking that fear and excitement, the two of them mixed together, and we're utilizing that. And we're saying, let's go. Because you know how you get rid of the fear? You get rid of the fear through action. So when you can equip your new team member to say, here's what we do. This is what we do. This is what I want to help you do. And here's why. Because the why matters, right? Their big why does matter. And we'll talk about that later. But right now, action matters. And so you set the expectation. What is the expectation? And you get it down. And this is what you're going to say to all of them. This is my expectation. This is what we do in our team. This is what I believe you can do. And then you're going to help them do that. Okay. So whatever your expectation is, I told you what mine is. It doesn't matter what yours is, but you decide what your expectation is, and don't you dare shoot low. Don't shoot low, because we are bringing out greatness in people. We are pushing them to do things that they did not know that they could do. Okay. So you set the bar. So that's number one. You set the expectation. Number two, create a system for answering questions. So we have all these questions, and you know, if you have been around for any amount of time, that when you are first getting someone going, the questions are abundant, right? Like okay, there's all these questions. Some of you have said, I have 20 new people on my team and I don't know how to train them all. I don't know how to equip them. I don't know how to really make sure that I'm taking care of them. So here's what we do. We create a system for questions being answered. We do it proactively and we do it reactively. So here's what I mean by that. Hold on, I'm making myself a note because I'm going to try to make like a document of this later so that you can have it for reference. And I just thought of this right now. So how do we do it proactively? Proactively means you have anticipated the questions they're going to ask because you have a full list here of the things that people ask for all the time, right? So you have anticipated the questions you're going to ask and you have a system in place for them to answer. I'm going to tell you what I do. It does not mean it's the right way for you, but then I'm going to give you some hows as to how you can do that. I have created it's basically 12 videos of commonly asked questions, of the things that I hear the most, the things that in the past 12 years I have seen people say, or that I know that they need, right? Like I know they're going to have this question. I know that they're going to make a mistake about host rewards. I know that they're not going to put in, like all of the things. So I basically took a giant list of questions like you guys have just asked right there, and I started to prioritize them. What do I think is the most important? What do they need to know right now? What do they need to know first, second, third? And I put them in order. And then I shot very quick 3 to 5 minute videos. This means one day you get dressed and you fix your hair and you whatever, and you sit at your desk, and here's the deal. You don't have to be, and listen, stop with your negative thinking. You don't have to do video. Like this is just one way that you could do it. You can have a document if you want them to read something. You decide what this looks like for you. But proactively anticipate the questions that are going to come, because what we're doing, here's what I need you to think about. Whether I have 1, 5, 20, 500 new team members in a month, I need to know that I have the capacity to take care of them. So you create a system to proactively say, I knew you were going to ask that question. Here's a text out of the notes section in my phone of people asking this all the time. Oh, I'm paste. No problem. Oh, here's the video link to this. Here's whatever it looks like for you. Okay. Me, I shot 12 videos. 12 videos that I think they need to go through step by step, that I'm training my team to utilize for their new recruits, to say, here's what we do first, here's what we do second, here's what we do third, and it's all based on action. Okay, here's what we do first. If I'm going to ask you, I'm setting the expectation. Here's the first goal, and then I'm equipping them to move forward with those things by answering a lot of those questions that they're going to have in the beginning. That's how we do it proactively. You put a system in place. It doesn't have to be video. It can be text. It can be in emails that you create that you're sending out. But what I want you to start thinking about, because this is where our world is moving, is I want you to think about how can I automate this as much as possible. If you have a team page, utilize your team page with tons and tons and tons of value. So I don't have a page on Facebook for my team. I use an app called Band, and it's just because I get too distracted in groups. I just do. I want to know that I can go someplace when I think of a question and I don't have to see the newsfeed, all the things. It's a whole thing. It's just a personal thing. It doesn't really matter. If you have a team page on Facebook, that's great. Utilize it to create a place for new team members to go. So maybe you create an album in the, like on a photos. You create an album, and that's where your new team members start. So maybe that's your welcome series. That's kind of what mine looks like. I have this app called Band. It's very similar to a Facebook group. And there's albums, and I have a new ? Start here, and it is our 12-step welcome series. And each photo, quote unquote, is essentially a video, 3 to 5 minute video that is proactively answering a question that they have asked. So right now, I know you're thinking, this is too much work. I can't do this. Like, whatever. I don't want to do it. Listen, it's work one time, and then it is done. Think about this. If I answer the question one time on video or written out via text or whatever, however you want to do it, if I answer it one time, and then I put a system in place where I can point people to it over and over again, guess what? You don't have to answer the question 20 more times. You have answered it one time. That's what automation is. Automation is when we decide to work smarter and not harder. And when we do that, our systems streamline, we become more consistent, and we also become more effective. And when we are more effective, we have a greater effect on people. I truly believe that when we can create excellence and systems in our business, that inspires people. One of my friends says all the time, excellence inspires God, or excellence honors God and inspires people. And I think that is so true. And so when you can say, when someone joins your team and they don't feel like, where do I even start? What do I even do? But they come in and say, oh, okay, I go to this thing and then I follow all these steps. Yes. You're proactively answering questions and you are inspiring people through that, right? So then they're on your team and they're saying, oh, I can do this. And if this is in place and I know that when I recruit somebody, they can go do this same thing, I feel really great about that, right? We want to make sure that we are equipping people. So that's how we do that. That's how we do it proactively. The second way we do it is that we do it reactively. So reactively, right, is when we react to something. So we can answer questions reactively as well, but we need a system for that because I watch so many of you run yourself into the ground answering every freaking question every second that it's posted. So the expectation in my team and the way that I handle even my brand new, even my personal recruits is there is a system in place. So I do several things. I actually, in one of my videos in my welcome series, the second video is all about questions they might have, but I also have a Google form in there where I'm asking them questions because I want to get to know them. And it's fun stuff like what's your favorite candy bar? Where do you love to get coffee? Like all those kinds of things. But it's also other things like what do you want from this business where I'm trying to get to know their why, giving them some action, right? But one of the systems I have in place is that I send, hi baby, I love you too, sweet dreams. I send a very thin little journal, really inexpensive. It doesn't even have like a wire. It's like one of those found ones to all my new team members. And the second video in our welcome series is about questions. And their sole purpose of that one little notebook is to put all their questions in it. Because what happens is they get questions like they're doing something. Shoot, I have this. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do with this, right? And what can happen sometimes is then they're going on your team page, they're shooting you a text, they're shooting their sponsor a text, and it's a constant flow of information, right? And it can become very overwhelming for you as a sponsor, for you as a leader. So when you say, here's a system, all the questions go in the notebook, or if you're not a paper person, do it on your phone, I don't care, right? Like, but you create the expectation, all the questions go in one place, and then you decide when you're answering those questions. So if they know them immediately, they know they can shoot me a text or they can put it on the team page. But if it's not immediate and they don't need to know right now and it's not going to stall their progress, then every Thursday night before Online Steps, we go live in a Zoom chat where we answer questions, where we look at things that they need to know. They also know they can go on the team page and ask questions. And it is not my sole responsibility to answer those. It is a team effort, right? So put some systems in place where you are reactively answering questions, but where you're also able to say, where you're pointing someone to a reference over and over again. If you are getting the same questions on your team page over and over again, hello, there needs to be a system in place for you to train and teach on that one thing. You do not need to be teaching about it every single week. If it keeps coming up, there needs to be one video done one time that you point people back to over and over and over again. And the great thing about a video, you can shoot it out via text. It can sit and live on your team page, right? You can put it in an email. There's so many things that you can do with it. So think about ways that you can create a system for questions being answered, both proactively and reactively, okay? All right. Okay, step number 3. So number 1, we set the expectation. Step number 2 was we created a system for questions being answered both proactively and reactively. Step number 3 is help them decide what's next. So there is always a next step for people. You have the expectation. My expectation is they sell 1,000 PRV in their first 30 days, that they shoot for shooting star, they sell 1,000 PRV in the first 30 days. I have a system for questions. They go through our 12-step welcome program. It's not even a program, y'all. It's an album with videos in it. 12 videos. And what it does too is it creates accountability for them. So when they come to me with a question, I know, oh, that's answered in video 3. She hasn't watched video 3. Hey, I need you to go watch video 3. I know that sometimes it's harder for you to say, because you can answer the question, you can. But you are not looking for followers. You are building leaders who are business owners. And when you are building leaders who are business owners, you are teaching people how to find the information that they need. Okay, vital. It's important. It's incredibly important. Some of you are stalled out right now because you have enabled for too long, because you have handed people things over and over and over again instead of saying, here's where it is. It takes more effort to teach somebody than to give them. It just does. It's that old proverb, if you teach a man to fish, he can eat forever. If I give a man a fish, he eats for a day, right? Same thing. That's where some of you are. You just keep giving things. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. No, we are teachers who teach. We equip and empower people to live lives that they did not know that they were capable of living. But that comes through equipment and empowerment. It does not come by handing things over, right? So we are showing people where things are. And then number 3, we're helping them decide what's next. So that looks like, okay, after their first 30 days, after they have answered all these questions, how do I help them know what's next? That's when we get to that piece of what kind of system do I put in place? Maybe it's a Google sheet. Maybe you create a Google sheet where you're asking questions. All right, hey, you just went through your first 30 days. Tell me what your experience was. Tell me what you're dreaming about. Tell me what you want out of this business. Tell me what you're fearful of. Tell me what you're excited about, where you're really getting to know these new team members. And then you're able to take that information and either train in another way. So if I'm fearful about something and you know that because you read it on my Google sheet, right? Then I can train and equip you in another way. I can point you to a resource, right? And you're helping them take their next steps. So if they're saying, the dream is to take my kids to the beach next year, like we've never been on vacation, I want to do that. Your next step as a leader is to help them figure out how to do that. So okay, I want you to decide where you're going. I want you to price it all out. I want you to look at Airbnbs. I want you to, whatever. Are you staying in a condo? Are you staying in a house on the beach? Are you staying in a hotel? Where are you staying? What are you doing? Help them visualize the whole entire thing. And then I want you to work backwards. So we're going to take that dream and that goal and say, okay, it's going to cost you $3,000. I have no idea. Okay, let's say $3,000. It's going to cost you $3,000. Well, let's say 5. It's going to cost you $5,000 to take your kids to the beach, to stay wherever you're going to stay, to get the airplane tickets, to feed everybody the whole time. It's going to cost you $5,000. Okay, it's 6 months away. How are we going to make $5,000 in 6 months? So you start breaking it down. Okay, so I'm going to divide $5,000 by 6 months. What is that? I have no idea. 0. Am I back? I am back. Okay. Nope. Yeah, I'm back. Okay. I don't think I'm on YouTube, but we're going to go. We're going to go on Facebook. We're just going to see if YouTube catches up. I think maybe I am on YouTube. I'm shaking my hair to see if I move. Okay. So how do I make $800 a month? Well, I know how to make $600. You sell 2,000 PRV, you make $600 a month. Right? Yes. Okay. How do we make the other 2,000? So you go backwards and you break it down step by step. And then you really lay out to them, what does this look like? How do they do this? And we make sure that we're focused on people's gifts and talents. We make sure that we understand what they're good at. We make sure that we understand what they're afraid of. But you have to have a system in place. If you don't have a system in place, you will feel overwhelmed. Now, here's the thing I need you to understand. A system does not mean a perfect system. A system means a system. It means you have taken action and you have created something. It does not mean that it's perfect when you put it out in the world. It does not mean that you're in love with every video. Honestly, I shot all my welcome videos just like 2 weeks ago. It's something I've been planning on doing in an email drip campaign for a long time. On my team page, like the whole thing. The first video, I hated it. I watched it and I was like, I look like a fool. It's different talking to a camera when you're not live with people. Like, I feel like I'm talking to you guys. I have a harder time when it's not live. And so I can get there, but it just takes some time. So the first video, I was like, you look like an idiot. But there is a point when it's just time to get mo. I learned this from my pastor. He said the Lord gave him this phrase, get mo, GTMO. Good enough, no, GETMO. Good enough to move on. Stop being paralyzed by perfection. Some of you are stuck because you are so freaking worried about doing it perfect. You are overthinking it. You are overdoing it. Stop. Nobody wants perfect. Nobody can live up to perfect. To move on. Okay. So the first video, I didn't love it, but you know what? I ran out of time. And my goal was that day to get those 12 videos done. And I got the 12 videos done. I'm like, I don't love it, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. It got the point across. I said the things. I'm not going to be overly critical of myself. I'm going to get it out there. It's not perfect, but we are making progress. And progress is what creates momentum. Action is what dissolves fear. And so when you say, I'm freaking scared right now because there are 20 new people on my team and I don't feel like I can do it right now, you are creating a system to care for and love on them. If video is not your thing, video is not your thing. You are answering every question that you saw in those comments, every commonly asked question, and you're putting a note in your phone and you are putting them all in there step by step. So when somebody asks you, you are copy and pasting, there's the answer. Or you're making a document, frequently asked questions, just read this, right? Or you're pasting it out and saying, here's a set of videos, here, whatever it looks like for you. But you have to move. You have to act. Massive action will deteriorate fear, but do not be consumed with perfection. Do not overthink it. All right. So some of you are thinking like, okay, all this is great, but I don't really know how to execute this. So there's 3 key ways that I think you can put this into place, and you just have to decide what's going to work best for you. All of you are different. All of you have different team sizes. All of you have different gifts. All of you have different time to devote to this business. So all of those things need to be taken into account. You do the thing that feels the best to you. You stop watching what everybody else is doing. You put your blinders on and you do your work. Okay. That is honestly, you guys, if you're following somebody and you feel jealous, for one, that jealousy, I think that envy and jealousy often points to something that we wish we were doing, but we weren't, but we're not. So I think jealousy is worth like exploring, but I also don't think it's worth spending tons of time on. So if there is somebody that just kind of rubs you the wrong way, or that somebody that you are finding yourself constantly comparing yourself to, unfollow. It is not worth your emotional capacity to continue to be stuck in this cycle of comparison. You put your blinders on and you do your work. I mean, that's all there is to it. Okay, so stop watching what everybody else is doing, figure out what's going to work for you. So 3 main ways that I think this might work well for you. 1 is email. I know some of you are not fans of email. Email is still king in marketing. Email still works. People still get emails. And the thing about email is it is easy to find and it is easy to locate. And if you can say to somebody, hey, I sent you an email and this is the title of it, I need you to go find it in your inbox. They might have 7,000 emails, but it's in there. Okay. I want you to go find it, and I want you to go find all the other emails that I've sent you that I automatically sent you because I created a drip campaign through an email provider that, yes, cost me a little bit of money, and yes, cost me some time to set up, but I did it 1 time, and then it automated for all of my other team members, right? Huge, huge. And then you know that they have the information and you know that they can get it. That's one way to do it. Email is great. An email drip campaign, which is automated, it happens automatically. So all a drip campaign is it means it drips out slowly. So you are probably a part of more drip campaigns than you even know. When you have a new team member sign up, you can literally add them to a list that slowly they get dripped out. They get a welcome email. Then 3 days later, they get the questions email. Then 2 days later, they get this action email, so they're slowly getting the things that they need. You can do it like that. Also, easier, faster, utilize your team page. Wherever you have community, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's in a group app, whatever it is, there is a way for you to utilize training there. So creating a system, it's an album, it's a whatever it is, and then making sure people know about it, right? So there's got to be some initial form of contact, whether it's email or text or a phone call. Something to consider. What is your initial form of contact? Email, text, phone call, whatever it is. Here's what I'm doing to say, here's where I need you to be, and here's what I need you to do first, okay? So you have your initial point of contact. You point them to the resource. Hey, check your email. I just sent you this email, or go to our team page. This is what I need you to look for. And you're creating a system within that team page to say, go to this album. This is where this training is. You can go through the whole thing. You've done it one time. I know it's work, but you do it one time and then it's done. Okay. You're taking massive action and it's going to be replicable over and over and over again. Okay. And so email is a possibility, your team page. The other thing is text. Like text is a possibility. Right now, I think text is more work. I am doing some research and I haven't found an answer. And if you know one, I would love to know about it. But I'm doing some research into automated texting. I don't really know if it's a thing yet. But we are, right now we send a welcome email, but I also want to send a welcome text as well with a link to the very first video. Hey, here's our very first video. Like, check it out. Let me know what you thought. Whatever. Introducing yourself. I don't care. But the other thing about text is even if you don't have an automation system for text, you can create all those texts in a note section on your phone. Welcome text series. Text 1, day 1. Text 2, day 4. Text 3, day whatever. And you're sending it to new consultants as they come in. Now, right now, to me, that's more work because it's, okay, I have to do this day 1, day 2, day 3. It's not as automated as I'd like it to be. There might be a system out there that does automation. I just haven't found it yet. So something to think about, okay? You decide how you're going to disseminate information. Is it going to be email? Is it going to be text? Is it going to be your team page? Is it going to be a combination of the three? And then you put the system in. You create a system for questions being answered both proactively, so you're ahead of the curve. You already knew they were going to ask that question and you've already answered it somewhere, and reactively, right? So they're answering questions more specific to their scenario, to the party they just had, to the conversation they just had. Maybe it's once a week on a Facebook Live. Maybe it's a Zoom chat. Maybe it's a Marco Polo. Maybe it's a group me. I don't know what it is, but you decide what it is, and that's where they ask questions. Maybe it's a question thread that you have on your team page, and that's where you direct them to ask questions, right? I don't know. And then you put systems in place to help them decide what's next, okay? Maybe it's a Google Sheet that they fill out after their first 30 days. Maybe it's a strategy call that happens with you after their first 30 days. Maybe it's a coaching session. Maybe it's, I don't know what it looks like. And here's the thing. You can't do it wrong. Don't worry about perfection. We're not going for perfect. We're going for action and automation. We're doing things one time that we can repeat over and over again. So there's not a wrong way. Doesn't matter what your friend's doing. Doesn't matter what someone else is doing. Do what feels the best to you that you feel like you can actually maintain. And this is key. You need to ask yourself the question as you're putting all in this place, like, is this replicable for me? Like, can I continue to do it if there's 1, 20, 500? Will this still work? Those are important questions to ask, okay? Make sure that it works for you. That's why there is no wrong way to do it, but it is vital that you take action and you make it happen, okay? Okay. Anybody have any pressing questions or anything that you were confused about? Project Broadcast. I also use an app project for texting called Hit 'em Up. I don't think it's on Android. I think it's only on iPhone. And it's like a group texting. So it appears to be like it makes groups that you make text one time. And then, like, let's say I have 70 of my team members in one group and I have to hit the button 70 times, but it automatically pulls them up. So I'm not copying and pasting. It's like it pulls them up. I hit it again and again and again. So I'm going to have to check out Project Broadcast texting. Cool. I use MailChimp for mail as well. The app I use for my team page is called Band, B-A-N-D. It's controversial. It's not controversial. My assistant and I were talking about it today because I always tell her, I'm like, I just have this thing with Facebook groups because to me it's incredibly distracting. And so the thing I love about Band is it's just for groups. And if I want to answer a question or find something, I just go there and I know that it's there, and you can set the notifications, whatever. It just works for me. We talk about all the time going back to Facebook, and we don't ever do it because I still hate it. I don't hate Facebook. I'm on Facebook Live. I shouldn't say that. They're like striking the lightning, but I don't. It's that me. Like I get distracted, and I don't love that people are in so many groups, right? So I don't know. Anyways, it's just a way for me to streamline. And yes, it is on desktop and it's an app, and it basically has every single feature that Facebook does, except you cannot go live. You can post videos, but you can't go live. And all your posts stay in order. So when somebody comments, it doesn't bring something back up. So the timeline of the group is in order. So it worked. It also has ways that you can create albums, I said, where you can put tons of, like all my training about this one thing can be here. I have a whole album about fear. I have an whole album about all kinds of things. Anyways, and then you can also utilize hashtags. So if we hashtag sponsoring or hashtag sales or hashtag fundraising, then anytime they search for that hashtag, it pulls up every post that was about that. So it's very, very similar. It's just without the distraction for me. So. Okay. Okay. I was just checking to see if there's any comments that I needed to address. Okay, here's the point. Here's my challenge to you. And I feel like we need to be challenged. I think we all need to be challenged. That it is very easy to sit in overwhelm, and it is very easy to say, oh, they only spent $15. Like I don't know that I can manage it well. I'm doing the best I can, right? But you know what's better? It's better to say, it might not be perfect, and I might not know everything, and I might not have it all right now, but I have a plan. And I have a system in place to be able to manage 1 or 5 or 20 or 30 new recruits. And I know that they are going to get the questions answered that they need. I know they're going to feel equipped. I know they're going to feel empowered. I know they're going to walk away feeling like, okay, I can do this. And I have support. And I think one of the things that's so important that you understand is that when you put a system in place and you can point people to it over and over again, and you spend the time to say, I did this, I shot these videos for you, or I made this document for you, or whatever. When you do the thing, whatever the thing is, send the text, send the email, write the document, make the video, whatever it is, it gives people power because they know that you care. And when they know that you care, they have a little more belief in themselves. And they say, okay, all right, like she took the time to do this. I feel good about this. I feel good about bringing my friends here. I feel good about bringing my family here. I feel good about bringing my best hosts onto this team and saying, okay, we can do this. Like we can do this. It is not about being perfect. It is about having a plan. It is about taking action. It is about showing up. So my challenge to you is that in the next 5 days, it is not even a week, in the next 5 days, you put an onboarding system in place. I don't care what it is. I do not care what it is. I'm going to push really hard for you to do something that takes more effort on the front end and far less effort ever else. So that might be videos for you. Like, yeah, videos take a ton of effort to do initially, and then they're done. And then you did them, and then they're done. Okay? And it's still you, and it's still your heart, and it's still all you have to give and the best you have, but it's done. Maybe it's text, maybe I don't care what it is. But in the next 5 days, I want you to put an onboarding system in place. And if you have one, I want you to make yours better. Like, add a next step, change something, ask some questions to your team about, hey, how can we make this better? Like, whatever it looks like for you. but put something in place where you feel equipped and empowered as a leader to adequately equip and empower other people. Because it is our job to help people climb mountains they didn't know they could climb. That is the freaking coolest job in the whole entire world. It's the coolest job. But if you want to help somebody climb a mountain, you've got to put a system in place. You have to have a step-by-step. Here's how we do it. Here's how we climb mountains. Here's how we rise. Here's how we're a little bit better tomorrow than we were today. 5 days. I want you to put your plan in place. And here's what I want you to do. After you have put your onboarding system in place, I want you to come back to this video. And I want you to hashtag did it. And then I want you to tell us what you did. I want you to use the hashtag did it. And I want you to say, here's what I did. Here's the system I put in place. It is not perfect. There are things I don't love about it, but it's done for now. And I'll make it better later. And whatever, I don't care. It is not about perfection. It is about making progress. It is about equipping and empowering other women to be great. Okay. So I need a hand raise. Are you coming back? First of all, are you accepting the challenge? I want you to tell me that you're accepting the challenge. I have 5 days to put an onboarding system in place. Utilize then. I want to know that you're going to come back. I'm going to come back in 5 days. I'm going to hashtag did it. I'm going to tell you what I did. Because there is power in knowing that you have something set up for people. And when people show up someplace and they feel like we've been waiting on them, there's a ton of power in that. When you have a system to onboard new consultants well, they can show up saying, oh, you were waiting for me. Like, you knew that I was going to be here. Yeah, we did. And we did all this for you. Because your excellence is going to inspire them to do something. It is not perfection. It is good. It's good enough to move on. Put it in place. Don't overthink it. Do the work. And I promise from that massive action, you will find power. You will find equipment in yourself, and you will inspire your team to do a little more than they thought they could. So, okay. I love y'all. I can't wait to see. You have 5 days. I can't wait to see what you do. Come back. We'll be watching your comments. We'll talk to y'all later.
Get Mo.
Get Mo. Bye.